everyone, and welcome back to the news. It's Jack here from Cultaholic, joined by Adam Pacitti. Adam, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm good. Are you ready to do the same news video again, Jack?
So what's happened is, right, people might have noticed that I've come into the empty part of the office to do that. Me and Tom did this video, and then the file corrupted or something. The Zoom recording corrupted. It was
so you're an expert. You know this off by heart, basically.
Yeah, no pressure to me there. Just to prove how much of an expert I am, I'll do the headlines, shall I?
Yeah, go on.
Let's crack on. First of all, we have an update on the recent absences from Monday Night Raw. Next up, a former WWE Superstar is set to make his Impact debut. And finally, all of the topics for the episodes of Season 3 of Dark Side of the Ring have been revealed. So yes, first of all, let's talk about the absent Raw talent, Adam, because recently, I mean, would you say it's fair to say that people have been down on Raw slightly recently?
Raw is borderline unwatchable. I just think it's just really bad TV, and I want to be passionate. I saw a few comments floating around the other day that were just like, "Oh, Adam he's not passionate about wrestling. He's not into it, is he?" But you know what? I really like SmackDown. I really like NXT. I really like Dynamite. Raw is just a bad TV show.
Yeah, Raw's not having the best time at the moment. A lot of that, well, there's a lot of different reasons, but a lot of people have been suggesting that there were reports recently that maybe explain it, that there was another COVID outbreak in WWE, and people maybe kind of assumed, well, this must mean that they're working with a limited roster at the moment. Maybe they've had to change some plans last minute and that sort of thing. That might explain why the past 3 Raws have been pretty repetitive and quite, quite boring. But Brian Alvarez has come out on a recent edition of the Wrestling Observer Radio and said that I was told today nobody is currently out. He suggested that everybody's been missing because they've had nothing written for them. Now, I don't know whether that means that there was a COVID outbreak, but those people have recovered now, or whether nobody was affected anyway who had anything to do on TV. So
just bad creative. Just bad. That's all it is, isn't it?
Yeah, he's saying that basically the only reason people have missed out is because they had nothing written for them. A big example being, of course, the Raw Tag Team Champions, AJ Styles and Omos, who won the belt at WrestleMania in a very well-received match. Omos looked amazing, beating the New Day, and then they've done very little since. And it's just a bit of a mystery what's going on at the moment, really.
Yeah, it's odd. It's just, I don't know. I read a thing that they've sort of changed Rhea back as well, that all the people in the Thunderdome who are watching at home are now being told to cheer for Rhea.
Oh, really?
So recently after her. It's just this flip-flopping booking. There's no consistency. There's very little continuity. That if I was a new viewer to wrestling and I tuned into Raw for an episode, I'd be like, what's this? There's nothing to grab one's attention, is there?
It's very strange indeed. But Impact have grabbed a bit of attention with the debut of w.morrissey recently, formerly known, of course, as Big Cass in WWE. And he appeared at the Rebellion pay-per-view last weekend. He helped Eric Young's team. He stepped in for Eric Young, who is sadly injured at the moment, and helped them win an 8-man tag team match.
Brilliant. Loved it. He looks so good. He looks so good.
You watched it, didn't you, live? You were streaming your reactions.
It was a really fun match, and he's never looked better. And there was a notable improvement in his in-ring work as well, because he's never been the strongest workers. He's a great hot tag guy, and he's really tall as well. But no, he's looking class, and I'm really, really excited about seeing him on Impact this week as well.
Yeah, he's making his weekly Impact debut. No word yet, as far as we can tell, on who he'll be facing or what he'll be doing. But I'm really, I find this story quite heartwarming and quite nice, because we all know, and he's talked very openly about it, that w.morrissey, Big Cass, has undergone a bit of hard times recently. He dealt with depression, mental health issues. I think he struggled with alcohol as well. And he has talked very openly about this. But as you say, he really seems to have turned it all around. He looks in incredible shape. He seems in a far more positive place, and it's just really nice to see, isn't it?
It is. He's one of those things that, like, he, for some of his sort of backstage issues and personal demons, he just sort of held his hands up and he was like, "Yeah, I admit that these are my problems. This is what I've done to fix them." And now he's come back, and he as I say, looks better than ever. And fair play to the guy. He said in a recent interview that he thought he was gonna pass away after he had that seizure. Mm-hmm. There was at a fan convention.
Something like that.
So it's great. It's just great to see him, and I hope he's really successful in Impact, because I think he's got a great deal of potential.
Yep, absolutely the same. Moving on now to NXT news as well, because next week it's AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts special edition, of course, where the Inner Circle are going to take on the Pinnacle. But even though they're not competing on the same night, NXT are still kind of stacking the card a little bit for next week's edition of NXT. There have been 2 big stipulation matches announced and quite a big return as well. So we've got the women's tag team title match. The champions Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart are defending against Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, The Way. And also Leon Ruff is going to be taking on Isaiah Swerve Scott in a Falls Count Anywhere match. They've been feuding for a while. This could possibly be the blow-off. I kind of hope it is, because it's been dragging on a little bit, and I hope both guys can move on.
Yeah, it's been going on for a while, but I've enjoyed all of it. I think Swerve he's sort of had a bit of a renewed push lately as well. And he is spectacular. We all knew he could go in the ring, but some of the promo work that I've seen from him has been excellent. And it's clear that they're really, really behind him. He had a very good showing in that in the Gauntlet match as well at TakeOver.
Yes, he was kind of the Iron Man of it, wasn't he? We've also got a big return as former NXT champion Finn Balor is making his first appearance since being decimated by Karrion Kross. I just get so hyped up now by Karrion Kross because of Andrew and his predictions video, which was superb. Everyone still tweets saying he's Kross. He's Karrion Kross. He's Kross. It's good, isn't it? It's really good.
Yeah, no, he's well. It'll be interesting to see what they're doing with Finn, as far as, you know, because as soon as he came back to NXT, people were immediately like, oh, how long is he going to be there? Is he going to be sticking around? He's now dropped the title. He's helped so many people in NXT during his time. Even though he held the gold for a long while, a lot of people challenged him and came out looking better as a result of that. No more so, perhaps, than, if you're not counting Karrion Kross and Kyle O'Reilly, who looked great there as well. But it wouldn't surprise me if, just because he's probably a pretty expensive guy to have down in NXT, I don't think he'd be taking a pay cut to go down there. It wouldn't surprise me if he's not long for the yellow brand. And that's fine, as long as he sort of retains that character, because this is the most that I've enjoyed Finn in his whole WWE career. I think he's been on fire. He's been great. And so if they do put him back on the main roster, I just hope they keep going with the whole Prince thing, because it's way better than any demon bollocks.
I don't mind the demon as a very occasional, it's a big match. Let's get the paint on, lads. But apart from that, I know what you mean. Don't laugh at that. Don't laugh at it. Let's get the paint on, lads. Moving on very swiftly to news involving Ring of Honor and CMLL, who have recently ended their partnership. CMLL and Ring of Honor were both kind of affiliated with New Japan for a while. They were like a little trio of promotions from different parts of the world. New Japan broke away, and now it looks like CMLL and Ring of Honor, their partnership is over now as well. In a statement issued on Tuesday, CMLL said this: the World Wrestling Council reports that as of today, the strategic alliance, they just said it openly, the strategic alliance that it had with American company Ring of Honor since 2016 comes to an end. CMLL continues to focus its efforts and resources with the commitment to continue presenting the best wrestling in the world, and thanks Ring of Honor for this period of joint work. But interestingly, and I don't mean to stir the pot or anything, but Ring of Honor have said nothing about this, which maybe implies that CMLL were the ones kind of pulling away a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I certainly don't want to call this like a nail in the coffin or anything, but it's a pretty big blow for Ring of Honor, who arguably have the least hype that they've ever had right now. We've just been working on this Ring of Honor champions ranking thing, and you look back at the glory days of Ring of Honor, they've still got a huge amount of talent there, but everybody was talking about ROH. And so to lose this partnership might damage them a fair bit, and also their champion, Roosh, is of course a CMLL talent.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen there. There's a bit of a
He's held the belt for ages.
So
long.
Possibly helped by, the whole pandemic and everything. But, yeah. I mean, he has held it for ages. And there might be a bit of a weird political issue with getting it back. Is there going to be a screw job? That would be fantastic.
Oh, go on. Do the Medusa.
I think that, you're right. Ring of Honor has suffered quite a lot. I think it's probably the promotion that has suffered the worst through the rise of AEW, which has kind of taken its place as the indie darlings, but sort of made it bigger. Where does that leave Ring of Honor, which is a shame, because as you say, they've got a lot of incredible wrestlers in there. But moving on to our final piece of news now, we're all looking forward to it. It's Vice's Dark Side of the Ring, Season 3, such fantastically produced documentaries. Yeah, absolutely amazing. I was saying to Tom in our first attempt at this news video that... well, that wasn't. I should point out, it wasn't anybody's fault. It was just a technical issue. That sounded like I was throwing mad shade at Tom. Just said to Tom when we first tried to do this. That even non-wrestling fans, if I didn't know about wrestling, I think I'd still find Dark Side of the Ring interesting because they're
Totally.
so well made.
It's got that crossover appeal that like Beyond the Mat does. It's just an interesting look at the politics and lifestyle of professional wrestlers and wrestling. Yeah, totally. I love it, and it's a stacked season 3, that's for sure.
It absolutely is. It's a bit of like a double album sort of thing where we've got the season split into 2 halves. The first half is coming up very shortly, and those episodes, I think it's 7 and 7 episodes. The first 7 will be covering Brian Pillman, the infamous Collision in Korea show, Nick Gage, a bit more of a modern story there, which I'm really looking forward to, The Ultimate Warrior, Grizzly Smith, and the Dynamite Kid. Oh, that's 6. Maybe it's not quite as even as I thought, but some very interesting ones there. And then the second half of the season will air in the late summer, and that's also got an equally interesting lineup. It's going to cover the WWF steroid trials of the 90s, Atsushi Onita's FMW promotion, Luna Vachon, the plane ride from hell, which it's like the ultimate shoot interview story, isn't it, in wrestling? Now we're going to get a proper documentary on it. Rob Black's XPW promotion, Johnny K9, also known, of course, as Bruiser Bedlam, and I think this one's quite important, the story of Chris Kanyon, who is a figure in wrestling, really, who I think has a story that deserves to be told more.
Agreed.
And I really hope that they do him justice.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah,
they haven't failed yet, that's for sure. I can't wait.
If that is in order of the episode's release, then I would suggest it's probably no coincidence that they've left Chris Kanyon until the very end.
Makes sense.
But if you've never watched Dark Side of the Ring before, they are fantastically made. There's a lot of Jim Cornette. He's all over it, to be honest. But I mean, he's got very interesting stories to tell and very interesting things to say. So yeah, can't wait. Thanks to everybody for watching this video. Adam, have you got anything you want to mention coming up in the pipeline?
No.
Okay, cool. Me and Owen.
No, we got the Ring of Honor ranked coming out soon. That's a big one. Nice. That should be out early next week.
Me and Owen will be Twitch streaming at 6 p.m. tonight, British time. It is the Cultaholic FC end of season awards. We're going to play the last games of the season, dish out some awards, which you, the viewers in the chat, can vote on. And I should mention as well that Tom is set to interview a Mr. I think it's Liam O'Rourke, who is Brian Pillman's biographer. He's going to be interviewing him on the news podcast next week in the build-up to that first Brian Pillman episode of Dark Side of the Ring. So very exciting times all across the board at Cultaholic. Thanks for watching this. Stay safe out there, stay positive, and I'll see you very soon.